Hello and welcome everybody to this HeflaTV presentation of the Join Dota League season number 3. It's the Asian division, we are at the semi-final, a best of 3 series between Invasion and First Departure. Skill-wise, teams should be rather even, to be honest. Invasion are maybe on more of a hot streak most of the time, maybe a little bit more stable in their performance, but First Departure definitely just such a strong team as well, at least in the Southeast Asian scene. So should be a great series all in all. I'm Coucher of course, and I'm joined by GrandSV early in the morning for him, and how you doing?
Doing wonderfully, up and fresh and ready to cast some Dota. Right now it looks like we're having some connection issues with some of the people coming out from First Departure, so maybe that's going to influence their performance, but honestly, First Departure have also been looking pretty good, as Invasion have been on a little bit of a winning streak. First Departure, it's always hard to count them out, as Miracle, his carry just seems to be really good. And it synergizes well with the current state of the game, where games tend to go longer and you can more heavily invest into that safely and farming carry.
Miracle definitely is kind of the one thing that First Departure can always really bet on. He almost always like performs, even if their team loses, somehow Miracle, he's like still number one in net worth and just does crazy things in fights, something like that. But I mean, Invasion, I actually got to cast them yesterday for the season 4 already, which is a little bit weird. Season 3 isn't even over, but season 4 already underway with the group stages. Invasion, they looked crazy strong in game number 1, completely rolled over Myth. But in game 2, Myth did the same to Invasion, so the game overall is just in a state that really anybody can win. But in a best of 3, just at least we will have a winner, not just a boring 1-1 tie.
Yeah, definitely. Um, hmm.
So,
I have no idea what's going on. Aluka must be having some pretty intense issues.
I mean, the teams, at least I didn't say, I mean, there's a lot of spam from them. So maybe they said like, oh, he's not connecting, although I would expect them to unpause if that was to be the case. So I guess they're just waiting. I don't know what can just even cause you to load in for this long. Like any PC that can play Dota should have been able to load in by now already.
I assume it's, I don't know, like a crash or something, but he hasn't, like, officially stopped looking for the game since, I don't know. I honestly have no idea. This is very peculiar.
Well, from some point onwards, at least they allowed for just people to pause the game, or I can't call it even the game, the load in, kind of. So I'm not too sure how long they're gonna keep it paused. Maybe they're just gonna remake. Sometimes people just get kicked from the lobby or disconnect out of the lobby and can't reconnect. I don't know. Hopefully, it's just not going to take too long.
Hopefully. Right now, we're just kind of sitting and waiting and hoping that he actually gets into this game. 2 minute delay is caught up on stream, and we're still waiting. And hey, Aluka has graced us with his presence, so hopefully we'll be able to unpause.
Oh yeah, looks like we're gonna hit the draft now, and bam, yes, success. Hopefully, no more issues to come. I mean, I was genuinely surprised as it is that everybody was in the server, and we just actually started a little bit ahead of time even. So it was a good sign to begin with. But
Yeah, good signs to begin with generally don't bode well for the rest of the game. Um, yeah, the game has to be delayed by some reason, and it looks like we're right on schedule about 5 minutes after when the game is supposed to start, and the draft will commence.
it's pretty close to the initial time, at least according to Southeast Asian standards, really. But looking at the bans now, Invasion have banned out the Brewmaster and Skyriff Mage. Death Prophet and Naga banned out by First Departure themselves. Miracle, of course, one of the sickest Naga players, but they don't favor that hero all that much, to be honest, recently. If they're in a pickle in a series, then they're going to resort to the Naga Siren if they really have no other way out. They're like one game behind already. But Invasion, also in yesterday's games, they went for the Batrider as early as they could. They just seem to favor that hero so much.
Yeah, definitely, and Ballard is a hero that you can count on usually. He does his job, and he does his job well. Finding those pickoffs, once you get that Blink Dagger online, Blink Force Staff is really when Batrider hits his stride, is pretty easy, and there's always that Batrider factor when you're pushing up high ground. You have to be very careful about your positioning, and even then, if you have just a small opening, Batrider can really put that to use. So I definitely understand them prioritizing this hero. A lot of the top tier heroes are still going to be left into the pool since we are going to see the Naga Siren banned out and the Bat Rider picked up. So first departure, they have two picks that could be very scary for Invasion. The first ones that come to mind, honestly, I'm not so sure, as I haven't seen first departure play. Is usually when they're playing, I'm asleep. Um, but yeah, let's see. They
Yeah.
tend to like picking up Miracle's hero fairly early on the draft, but maybe not this early. And they're going to go
Whoa.
for an Elder Titan Medusa. What an
Whoa.
opener!
Those are the two heroes I did not expect. I was like expecting maybe Ogre. Ogre isn't that popular in the Southeast Asian scene as it is in the Western one, but still like Ogre, maybe even go for straight off Vengeful Spirit to deal with the Bat Rider, maybe Legion Commander, press the attack to remove the lasso, something like that, but Elder Titan Medusa, like, what an opening, man. But Invasion, straight off Anti-Mage, they knew that otherwise First Departure will almost 100% ban it out, and Anti-Mage, one of the best heroes to deal with Medusa.
Yeah, First Departure have already shown their cards. And Invasion are going to capitalize on that. I don't think there's really anything bad about going for this anti-mage at this point, is it'll help them bring down this Medusa, which is quite honestly incredibly difficult under normal circumstances. A 60% damage reduction on Mana Shield is, I don't know, just really strong if you don't have any sort of mana burn. Anti-Mage, the king of mana burn, especially once you get that Manta style, jumping onto the Medusa and forcing her to burn through that pool of mana is going to make it a lot easier to bring her down. Invasion, they're going to go ahead and ban the next two heroes that most often are used to buff up that Medusa, and the Ogre Magi and the Magnus. As far as first departure, they'll ban out the Viper and the Shadow Demon.
I mean, Invasion Esports bans definitely makes sense. I mean, Bloodlust or the Empower to buff out the Medusa, really scary to go up against. Viper, all in all, a solid hero that Invasion runs rather often, to be honest. So, both teams, they definitely know what the other teams like or what would synergize just with the general lineup. First Departure, though, went for an Tidehunter at the moment. Usually, Elder Titan is played in the offlane, as is the Tidehunter. I know Team Secret is a team that runs the Elder Titan support, but I think they're really the only one I have seen do that. So, is this something like a Elder Titan or Tide mid lane maybe, or something crazy like that, or Tide just in a tri lane? But what do you
Okay.
think?
So what I think these lanes are going to work out for first departure is that Medusa's going to take the mid. It's going to be a safe lane Titan, off lane Elder Titan. But honestly, they could switch these around in a multitude of different directions. As far as an evasions pick, I'd love to see a Timbersaw for them. Although we don't see the supports and there might be a lot of lockdown coming out from them, the laning situation for Timbersaw is almost guaranteed to be good. The worst lane going up against him would have been the Medusa, and honestly, if that's the worst case scenario, that's pretty good for you. You could probably just throw that Tidehunter solo safe lane, or even into the off lane. I think it would work out for them decently well. Invasion are going to go ahead and pick up the Witch Doctor for themselves. They don't have any of that big teamfight AoE control, and now with the Rubik pick on first departure, this could be problematic for them. If they get caught out by Ravage and then the steal of the Death Ward comes out from the Rubik, that could throw a big wrench in an Invasion Esports plans.
Oh, it most certainly could, and I have to agree with you on the Witch Doctor pick. They don't have the lockdown at the moment. And not only that, channeling or going for a decent Death Ward against Tidehunter is such a hard thing to do just because the Ravage AoE is absolutely ridiculous. So Witch Doctor gonna have to position himself perfectly and go for the Death Wards. Maybe they're gonna go for something that synergizes with him, maybe even something like a Treant Protector. I know they ran it in the past, but Treant, I'm just not a huge fan of that hero just because his roaming potential isn't all that strong. So, do you think they might even go for something like a Nyx pure support now, just to have even more mana burn, or would it just be overkill?
Nyx pure support isn't bad in this situation. I think they could get away with it if they wanted to, but honestly, since it's still available, the Earthshaker just seems to be one of the better heroes available, giving them a nice AoE to stun, good way to disrupt the team fight coming up from first departure, a fairly melee or low range heavy lineup that suffers in the mobility department. Elder Titan, Tidehunter might consider getting 4 staffs and blinks on either of them, a blink especially on the Tidehunter, but other than that, their heroes are going to be disrupted by the fissure very heavily, and with a blinking Bat Rider, blinking Anti-Mage, I think that Invasion would be able to get around with it, even if the blocks weren't superb. But even so, I think it's really good. First departure, ban out the Venge. I'm not a huge fan of this ban coming out from them. I think it would have fit better into their lineup than Invasion, but oh, maybe Invasion, they're considering that that Tidehunter might be a pure support.
Yeah, I mean, it's either the Elder Titan or the Tidehunter at the moment. So either or, but I have to agree. Vengeful could have been just put to great use for first departure, but they're going for the Legion after all in the end. So we talked about it a little bit to begin with, just Legion to try to counter the Batrider. All in all, a pretty tanky hero. The duel can be pretty good in just shutting down the anti-mage so he can't blink out. Although first departure's really like burst damage is kind of lacking at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. They have nice sustained damage to the fights with the Medusa, the Elder Titan. But still, First Departure's lineup looks incredibly greedy. The lanes, I don't know how they're going to settle down for them. It could just be a straight up support Tidehunter that runs the pulls, Rubik babysitting the Medusa, Elder Titan mid, Leech Commander off lane, or vice versa. But if they really wanted to greed it up, they could throw the Leech Commander to the jungle, Tide off lane, Elder Titan mid, Medusa, Rubik safe lane. I think either of those laning situations are about as even as far as what the lanes are actually able to accomplish. Still, they're going to be putting no pressure on this anti-mage. Batrider should get a fast blink, and Razor could get a fast mechanism, Ags, or BKB, whichever is his choice this game. Black King Bark might just be it for this Razor. But still, First Departure's lineup, it looks very heavily abusable, but if they're able to get over the first 20 minutes of the game fairly unscathed, like if they lose some tier 1 towers, I think that's acceptable for them. But if they get the Blink Daggers up on all of their heroes, they're going to be looking really solid. But Invasion, I like this Lich pickup for them. It's going to buckle down their lanes and focus on lane domination, which up against First Departure is going to be problematic for them, I feel.
I think also it's a pretty nice pick. I mean, First Departure, they did go greedy like you mentioned, but they were just trying to exploit anti-mage's weakness, which is just him also being rather passive in the early game, farming up on his own lane. So now, with Invasion going for that Lich, they can make sure that, even though the lanes might be slightly passive, at least they're gonna have the lanes just kind of won anyway. So, definitely on board with the pick. Bonus armor will help out, just because Elder Titan is gonna remove your base armor, but then the Lich Frost armor comes into play, will be completely fine all of a sudden. So it's definitely not a bad pick. Plus, I guess the Chain Frost might not be too impactful here, depending on how First Departure position themselves. Yes, they have 3 melee heroes, so it might do a lot, but I mean, Chain Frost is always kind of just luck.
Yeah, right now there's nothing great to set up. That said, into the game we're going to go with on the Radiant side, Invasion Esports are going to be playing on that side of the map with Ghost handling the Batrider, ADTR on the Lich, Kesekimba on the Anti-Mage, OK on the Witch Doctor, and FZFC on the Razor.
And for the counterpart, First Departure on the Dire side, Lobby will be playing the Rubik, Living Miracle on the Legion Commander with Tafa on the Tidehunter, Polos on the stand-in on the Medusa, and the last one will be Aluka, as in Kai, on the Elder Titan. So, definitely just anxious to see how First Departure are going to choose to lane this. By the hero, or just player role, Tafa should be the offlaner on the Tidehunter. So it looks to be just a pure support Elder Titan. Or, well, position 4 I guess, as Lobby will be the just 5 position Rubik.
Yeah, Elder Titan as a support, he desperately needs those levels, and I'm not really seeing a way that First Departure are going to get that at any decent time for this Elder Titan. We'll see. It's not going to be until later in the game where they're actually able to get this hero online with the maxed out aura and maybe a couple points in the Astral Spirit Stomp as well as the Earth Splitter. It's going to take a long time for Luca to get online unless they get kills, which honestly isn't going to happen unless you have some early duels coming out from Miracle, but at least for the first 6 to 10 minutes of the game, I don't expect this Elder Titan to be doing much else than pulling.
So, just based on the drafts at the moment, who would you give the advantage to?
I like Invasion's draft a lot better. I think they're going to be able to use it to more effectiveness, although First Departure, if they're able to drag this late, even though there's an Anti-Mage on the other side, they should have a decent advantage because of Legion Commander's scaling, but if it's just the Medusa and Anti-Mage getting farm, Invasion should have decent tools to take out that hero. With a Blink, if Linken's is a choice for the Medusa, Force Staff to break the Linken's and then lasso back into a blinking Manta Anti-Mage, it should be fairly easy for Invasion to deal with that amount of farm, and if you're funneling that much gold into one hero and then it's taken off of the map, after that, Invasion should be able to take the fights fairly easily. It all depends on how this laning stage goes, and it depends on who gets the farm and how, which in the end could benefit First Departure, but on paper I like Invasion.
Well, this game definitely might just go into rather late stages of the game, like 40 plus minutes, quite easily. I can imagine it going so, unless Invasion kind of snowball. Invasion's, I guess their high ground defense isn't the scariest. I mean, Batrider, yes, his initiation is going to be scary. Other than that, though, they don't even have just any massive amounts of counter push. Plasma Field from Razor, maybe Flame Breaker from Batrider is gonna have to be enough, kind of. Paralyzing Cask, maybe, so-so. But the biggest deal will be just the initiation. Who's gonna get the jump on who? And can Batrider just drag off the Medusa, for example, and the anti-mage just mana burn, mana void, and just be done with the Medusa, because Medusa, without a doubt, will be the scariest hero if it actually gets to the late game.
Well, as for the lanes of first departure, they're going to throw Miracle towards mid, safe lane solo Tidehunter, and then they're going to go aggressive with the Medusa Rubik as well as Elder Titan. Although it's an aggressive lane, it's not really an aggressive lane. As long as they secure farm for this Medusa, they'll be happy. But Invasion's lanes are even more peculiar with an anti-mage mid, and then safe lane, Razor, Witch Doctor, and off lane, it's going to be Lich and Bat.
Oh man, I can completely see now Lich denying the creep in the mid lane first, then seeing the aggressive tri-lane from first departure and coming into the bottom lane. Lich against tri-lanes is pretty damn sick, just in the sense that you deny the creeps, you keep on denying them, and tri-lanes, they're starved for XP as it is, especially if you're going for aggressive tri-lane and you don't have a pull at your disposal. So, them going aggressive tri-lane, they're definitely expecting to see anti-mage there, I think, on the safe lane. So, until they scout it out, first departure, I guess they can just roam around and switch up lanes as well if need be, but I'm almost positive that they were expecting an anti-mage safe lane.
Yeah, I think so as well. That said, Leechy Commander in the mid up against the AM should have a pretty good time, as AM doesn't have a great way to shove out the lanes, and Miracle is going to have overwhelming odds. Also, the base damage advantage is going to be going towards the Leechy Commander, even though the Anti-Mage starts out with a very early Poor Man's Shield. So I don't think that this is going to go particularly well for Invasion, but maybe they just do a dual lane mid, which is also an option. This is going to tip the scales into the favor of Invasion. Make sure this Anti-Mage gets up his early farm. Whatever the Anti-Mage's build is, he should be able to get it at a decent time, although not as fast as an untouched safe lane farmer. The aggressive tri-lane down in bottom is going to be spotted out, but Lich is still going to sit in mid, look for some denies, and put some harass into Miracle.
Of course, top lane Ghost should have an advantage against Tidehunter as well, although Kraken Shell, definitely a good thing to have when otherwise Sticky Napalm is enough to kill most heroes, as FC might be in some trouble if Lobby, nevermind, doesn't get close enough. FC starts with boots, but as long as the Witch Doctor is in position, even somewhat, really should be able to not out-harass, but play defensively enough to make sure FC just runs out if need be. Mid lane though, Miracle, man, the overwhelming odds, they do a crazy amount of damage early on.
Yeah, he just caught out a whole creep wave and 2 heroes, and it chunks down the anti-mage to about half. He needs to put point to spell shield eventually to stop that, but even so, Miracle is going to get more points into that, and he'll be able to keep this lane at arm's length, as well as constantly get farm. Down in bottom, posturing coming out from both of our supports and the Witch Doctor, but they won't be able to find OK as he makes his way towards the safe side of the map. For now, as projected inside the draft, we're going to have a fairly passive game with very low rotations. If any of these kills happen, it's going to be because of an overstep or just good positioning coming out from the supports. Right now, I doubt anything's going to really come out of this. I'm not sure who that actually favors, however, as Anti-Mage and Medusa are currently farming neck and neck.
Well, it really depends on what playstyle Invasion are gonna adopt. Whether this Anti-Mage will start joining fights rather early or just wants to keep on farming, get the Battle Fury, get the Manta style, and like at 25 something minutes then join the fight. If they're playing it too passive though, they definitely might be just playing into the hands of first departure, to be honest. But so far, it's decent-ish for them. Razor, of course, really isn't getting anything. Miracle having a slightly better time. But as Lich gets more and more levels, Miracle is also gonna struggle. Just the constant Frost Blast spam is a little bit too much to handle, at least when the Frost Blast gets some levels. Lobby though, he's in the mid lane. Now Miracle has his own bottle as well. They might get the jump on ADTR if ADTR just overextends by a little bit. Even just Getchik isn't safe, to be honest. Oh, the sentry.
Yeah, they spotted out that Invis rune, and now it's abundantly clear what's going on. And it doesn't look too fishy for them unless they're spotting out the inventory before the sentry rune was placed. And the Rubik is not going to find anything in mid, so potentially an opening is going to be closed. As Invasion, just game sense coming out from them, and they'll be able to avoid any of these issues coming out from a Rubik lift. And Kestigima will be able to go back into farming down in bottom, however. Polison's taking a huge chunk of damage with the Plasma Field. One more auto attack is all they need. Man Shield wasn't on for that, but a stomp from FCFC is going to make sure that this is a clean disengage going out from first departure.
Yeah, just they knew Lobby wasn't there, or at least wasn't close enough quite yet. So nice aggression, mana shield, a little bit late with the activation, but now they want to go for the turnaround, maybe Lobby. Never mind, just comes in for one right click and that's about it. FC, of course, a little bit low on mana all of a sudden because Razor's mana pool is quite crappy and you don't usually go for a bottle unless you're mid lane. And especially with the Mystic Snake, it's just taking even more out of you. He does go for a Magic Stick, so okay. Rather healthy on the mana pool, has the Clarity ticking on him. So far, almost 4 minutes in, no kills yet. Miracle takes a lot of damage mid lane though, out of mana, so mana break won't do additional damage. So just, they're trading harassment so much. Ring of Health flying out to catch those anti-mage. Gonna fare just that much better all of a sudden.
Right now, the Batrider is being pursued a little bit by Dafa, but with no points into the gush, he won't be taken down, and potentially they look towards mid as Miracle's being pursued by Kisakiba. One more blink is all that they'll need, but as it's only level 1 blink, it's going to take too long, and Miracle, he's sticking around potentially a little too long. He's going to be fine. Sending out the bottle to himself on the courier, as well as getting a rune secured to him by Lubby, is going to mean that he's at full HP as well as mana once he has both of these charges completely filled up. And that'll be nice for Miracle. Not going to bottle up his support. He's just going to keep that for himself. And with the double damage rune, he'll be sitting in mid fairly comfortably, despite dropping low previous.
Yeah, and with the double damage, if he gets level 6 fast enough, when he still has double damage, might even go for a surprise kill, to be honest. ADTR, of course, keeping up with the harassment, and him going for that early point into Ice Armor just means that you're not going to have the level 2 sacrifice, so you won't have just limitless Frost Blast. I can't say I'm a huge fan. I don't think the Ice Armor was really that necessary this early on. Or maybe just leave the Frost Blast as one and sacrifice it on 2. So, I don't know, man. Lich, he's gonna be kind of useless when you can't spam the Frost Blast.
I don't know. I think it's an okay choice coming out from him. I would have preferred 202, but down in bottom, or no, it's going to be up top on the Tidehunter, the first blood that happens. I expected this action to break out not in that top lane, but Tidehunter Kraken Shell wasn't enough to keep himself safe, as it just isn't proc enough for him, even with the Magic Stick. He's going to be pursued by the Batrider. Lasso being expanded. It's going to draw first blood for Ghost.
Miracle had to pop his double damage here as well. Ketchik blinked it in aggressively. ADTR though couldn't get quite close enough for the Frost Blast. No boots on the Lich unfortunately, but look at this Tidehunter. After his death, going for the rotation into the bottom lane. It's nighttime as well, and he can easily come in so the creeps won't see him. FCFC, he's completely out of mana. He's gonna run into free telekinesis. Dafa doesn't want to pop the ultimate quite yet. Anchor Smash to begin with. There's the Ravage, connects them both. FC should go down quite easily. Mystic Snake as well. The Fate Bot is still alive somehow. Are you kidding me right now? Aluka, no Astral Spirit, and FC. He's just gonna run away, I think. Maybe gonna be chased down, but with boots. Oh, Astral Spirit. Nicely dodged by FC, just going to the bottom rather than just running towards his base. I can't believe he escaped.
Yeah, that paralyzing cast coming up from Witch Doctor is key there, as it bounces back and forth to a couple of heroes. And first use of Bradvich doesn't net them a kill despite landing onto 2 heroes. Very unfortunate for First Departure and for Dafa especially. And that's also a lot of time that the Batrider is able to farm. And after getting First Blood, he's able to purchase up a bottle as well as get dangerously close to that Blink Dagger. We're probably going to see it at, I don't know, sub 9 minutes, maybe 8.5 at the current farming rate, maybe even a little bit faster, even without any stacks farmed up.
So Miracle hits level 6, he wants to go for the duel! Oh god, ADTR just barely fast enough on the Lich. Might have even gotten it with the Presti attack and duel. I mean, Lich was pretty damn low. Still doesn't have his boots picked up. Has gone for wards and whatnot before. So playing a little bit on the edge, Miracle. Him being level 6 is a huge threat to Invasion. If it's anti-mage going against him, I don't think the duel will be enough unless First Departure rotates in at least 1 hero, maybe even 2. But Ghost, wow, he's only 200 gold short of the blink, man. The kill and just rather free farm on the top lane just shows off.
Yeah, definitely. And he's going to steal a couple of camps coming out from the enemy team, and this is going to secure him that blink gold, or at least very close to it. Again, that's why his supports to buy him a smoke, and then with that, he'll be able to make a jump onto First Departure very quickly. And potentially without them knowing, speaking of jumping, Miracle is being jumped on in mid. Kesikimba does have the ultimate, but they're not going to spend it for that kill, as it wouldn't have secured it, as Lich wasn't in range for any of his spells and doesn't have his level 6 available. So Miracle's able to survive. I think it's worth going for it, but if you're diving under the tower and Miracle's able to get off a duel, that could be problematic. I don't know. Miracle survives, however. He's made a couple of close skates in that mid lane.
Just the base movement speed paying off there. I mean, 320, even faster than the anti-mage. That's really the key part of him escaping there, at least most of the time. But in the meantime, Dafa was able to push out quite heavily on the top lane. He had almost a double creep wave with the siege creep as well, and nobody was there to really stop him early on. So tower down to slightly less than quarter of HP. They're doing the same push on the bottom side as well. Poloson doesn't have his ultimate. But Invasion, they're not reacting, not yet at least. Batrider has the Blink Dagger picked up, he might go in. There's the Paralyzing Cask through the creep and Kai. Oh well, Lord Titan, can you escape? I have my doubts. The tower will help out just before the Echo Stomp lands. Now Lobby might get chased down as well. He's going for the TP out. He's gonna succeed. FC didn't get enough damage stolen, having the static link only on level 1. But a kill nonetheless, and they got Miracle in the mid lane as well.
Yeah, it's currently 3-0 in favor of Invasion. This laning stage is doing wonders for them. Their anti-mage is getting really good farm in mid because of the dual lane. Going to be going towards that Battle Fury. Wasn't sure if he'd be going for that in the mid, but it makes sense, especially if you're able to get it this early. He'll be able to have it at a decent timing, even though the enemy decides to go aggressive. No rotations were attempted in mid. It's going to be a lane swap coming up from First Departures. They send Pulse on up towards top, deciding that the bottom lane really isn't worth their time anymore. And although the Medusa is farming well up in the or down in the bottom lane, it's not as good as the anti-mage in bot. They'll be able to get the tier 1 tower there without any contention, as Invasion haven't done anything there. The Batrider's still yet to show off this Blink Dagger anywhere across the map, and although Ghost gets it at a really fast timing, he hasn't been able to use it for the last minute and a half.
Oh, they go in though. No lasso. Telekinesis from Lobby stops Ghost from getting it. He delayed it out a little bit as well. Could have gotten the jump just slightly faster. So first, showing out the Blink Dagger, unsuccessful for Ghost. And that's usually just the most important thing, to show the Blink Dagger off the first time and get the kill with it. Because now First Departure, they're gonna try to get some more map vision going for themselves, and they're just gonna be a little more wary of the potential of the Batrider jumping in.
Yeah, definitely. And First Departure are going to be happy that they avoided that kill. That's one of the benefits of having the Rubik. Well, the Lich, being pursued down by Miracle. If he's able to land this duel, it might be just straight up killing ADTR. Gets press the attack off and then walks into a corner. ADTR is dead. As that's going to be your first duel victory for Leech Commander, just as the Doctor ordered about 10 minutes in. However, with the haste on the Batrider, he's able to pull up Leech Commander up to the high ground. Now he's going to leave her there. Miracle jumping from Kasagimba. They're going to be able to take out this kill. Miracle tries to do as much damage as possible, but it's not going to be enough. Kasagimba is now going to find himself in an awkward situation where he has to wait for his mana, but that'll be up before too long. And it's going to be Invasion striking back, although Leech Commander gets the damage beforehand, so it's not that terrible that she loses her life.
It's definitely not. I mean, 10 points of damage, you might think that it's not all that much, but it starts stacking up at some point, and he didn't lose too much gold as well, I think, from it, so all is fine for them. Of course, you would still want him to have the Blink Dagger as early as possible, or just really anything to tank him up, do more damage, whatnot. But it's perfectly fine. Ghost might be looking for more Firefly activated. No, he's just gonna farm Polos and backs off in time. Doesn't even keep the mana shield activated, just in case. If he gets jumped, he will have the option to whether pop the Stone Gaze or go for the mana shield. And Invasion just farming up the jungle now as well. They do still have a quad stack here. Ketchik, he's gonna have to wait for the Battle Fury before he goes for that.
Yeah, definitely. Anti-Mage can't do anything about that stack until he has that item completed. Right now, Anti-Mage is down the gold. They need to pick up one of the swords, but getting close to at least one of those and going to have a decent time Battle Fury by any means. Yeah. In the meantime, it's down in bottom that FC's able to pick up a little bit of room. Working towards the mechanism for his team, now Buckler Headdress completed, as well as one of the components towards his power treads, but still this Razor's farm is very lackluster, farming less than the Tidehunter, and just wasn't able to get anything out of the laning stage. However, in a situation where you're giving up the farm on one of your heroes between Anti-Mage and Razor, I'd much rather have a farmed Anti-Mage and a Razor that doesn't get that much.
Yeah, especially like, whoa, Poloson. There's the Rutavi. Whoa, my words, man, but they're gonna go in lobby. Finally gets the telekinesis chain frost. Gets some nice bounces, but Alok gets rid of it. ADTR. He's gonna get dueled as well. Probably gonna win. Yes, he is. More points of damage for Miracle. Trying to chase down for more Polos and still alive. Mana shit just a little bit too strong. As FC, he's on the run from Miracle. No duel anymore. So it's just clean 2-0 sweep. It's only the supports, but Invasion, they were the ones jumping in and they didn't get a single kill.
Yeah, both times the Batriders threatened the lasso initiation, Dafa's been really quick on those TPs in, and it's paid off the second time. Although the Medusa, Rubik, and Elder Titan drop dangerously low, they don't fall. Blinking for the Batrider again. Doesn't have a lasso available for the Flame Break, so he bounced Dafa into tower, getting healed by the Leech Commander. He's trying to juke through the woods. Will he be able to make it out alive? I don't think so. Let's see if the jukes are going to be enough for Dafa. I doubt it. One more out attack from the Lich, as well as the Batrider Firefly, is going to be enough to secure that kill, but Miracle makes it out safely.
I would have liked to see them chase Miracle and just leave like one hero to deal with Tidehunter. He was so damn low on health anyway. Like, any hero coming in, TPing in as they were coming in anyway, could have gone for the Tidehunter. Better, had he kept the sticky napalm going on Legion, probably would have been enough to get the kill. But they get the Tidehunter, still a nice kill, and not too sure if they're going to be able to pressure the tower enough though at the moment. Maybe if they get the tier 1, it's going to be just even more gold. And if Anti-Mage gets the last hit, I think he's going to have enough for the Battle Fury as well.
Yeah, if not enough, very close to it. That last fight, the Astral Spirit doing a lot of damage. It's not going to be enough to delay this tower push, however, even though the Stomp lands. Last hit is going to go to the Anti-Mage, and that is almost a complete Battle Fury, only 50 gold away from that. Also, Force Staff done on the Batrider and Blink Dagger done on the Leech Commander, but the lasso up top on the Polasan. They're going to pull him back. The Stone Gaze, however, is going to delay this, but Polasan now completely tapped out of mana, is going to just be given the rundown by these two heroes at the very least. Witch Doctor comes back, Flame Break bounces back Polasan nicely. Lich, although, stands the mana for another Frost Blast, a Paralyzing Cask as well as the right click should be plenty, especially with the Blink Dagger coming out from the Batrider. It is going to be a kill on the Medusa, farming a little bit too aggressively up in the top lane.
So that's going to be Anti-Mage now, having the Battle Fury 40 minutes in with power threads. Definitely pretty good timing. He's gonna have that quad stack to farm up as well. Might cost him quite a lot of HP, but definitely gonna be worth it gold-wise. First departure, they want the tier 1 tower still. It's down to quarter HP. Dafa, he has his Blink Dagger now as well. So there's double blink on first departure. The counter initiation or just initiation is gonna be pretty sick for them. Kai, he's gone for 2 points into Echo Stomp and not maxing out Natural Order, which is usually the case for Elder Titans. What do you think of the Titan build? Oh, Miracle gets the duel! Oh my god, Anti-Mage. They need a little bit more damage. Flame Break comes out, Echo Stomp as well. He does get the kill, but the duel was not won. So, slight bonus for Invasion, I guess, or just the only positive thing from that fight. But Anti-Mage, straight after the Battle Fury, you usually would want to just keep on farming, but... yeah, this is how you show off a Blink Dagger.
Definitely, and they're going to be able to find that kill on the Anti-Mage, who up until now has had a pretty unimpeded time. It's going to be a lot of gold, and most importantly, experience. 544 for everybody involved in that last kill. First departure. Before that fight broke out, you were talking about the Elder Titan's skill choice. I think it's okay at this point in the game, especially for a support Elder Titan. I don't think you go much more than 2 points into the Echo Stomp, but with the recent balance changes, or rather scaling changes to Natural Order, it's a little bit more viable. It's the last that goes on Dafa, but the Instant Ravage as well as the Stone Gaze are going to get Ghost dead first, and it's going to be a dual victory for Miracle. Batrider jumped to feed. They have to use all their ultimates for it, but now they're going to chase down FCFC with the Lich ultimate as well as Witch Doctor ultimate bouncing through. It's going to be Dafa as well as the Rubik and the Medusa falling very low. The Mana Void going to be landing. They don't have a Leech Commander duel available, and Miracle's way too low in order to even think about it. Mana Stake is going to be bouncing through, doing a lot of damage to ADTR and company. Blink forward from the Tidehunter, one more bap of that anchor is going to be able to get the kill on the Lich, but now Miracle jumping in. He doesn't have a duel for 20 seconds. The Gush is going to secure a double for Dafa, as first departure tied the scale score 8-8. Luckily enough for Invasion, their Anti-Mage survives throughout all of that, but again, it's a silver lining that really isn't a silver lining.
Wow, that fight was so bad for Invasion, it's unimaginable really. Of course, Rubik did buy back for more or less nothing, just got to steal a Paralyzing Cask and that was almost about it. But Batrider, I'm not too sure what he thought jumping in like that. I hope it was a misclick that he went for the Tidehunter, who's gonna have Kraken Shell and Ravage anyway. He could have just chosen, for example, the Medusa, make it so that he can Stone Gaze immediately. And not only that, the Razor, he got Stone Gazed or Petrified, he was so far away, but oh, they get the last one to Polasan. Frost Blast to follow, but they don't have the Chain Frost. They need that one, just +1 hero. Mana Shield wasn't activated, but it's still not enough. The damage output just isn't there with the two of those heroes. It's not a clear... Oh, Miracle! Jump in! He's gonna go for the duel as well. Is he gonna win more damage? It sure looks like a Flame Break. No, it's not enough. They're gonna chase down Ghost as well. Maybe Ice Armor is activated, so they're gonna be slowed down. Miracle with the Haste Rune doesn't care at all. Lich, or rather Razor, he's around. Static Link onto Kai. They're gonna get the counter kill most likely. Razor should be fast enough. Plasma Field. No, Polasan gonna help out. Stone Gaze. And they just get another kill. Miracle suddenly up to 40.4 points of just plus damage.
Yeah, at this point in the game, that's a ridiculous amount to have on your Leech Commander. He's been able to find consistently those duels for himself. I don't know, just done a pretty good job of it. Now with the Blade Mill almost complete on this Leech Commander, finding those duels is going to be that much easier, especially on targets like the Witch Doctor who don't have that much HP. Sooner rather than later, Leech Commander is going to be able to solo kill those heroes, especially when you have a double damage rune, which might catch them off guard. Not anymore, he's going to show himself in mid. Yeah, First Departure, they've kind of made it over the hump of their lineup, however. They're going to have a Lincoln Sphere very shortly on your Medusa. Still the recipe away, and Pulson hasn't had that great a time as far as farm, as well as finding that room on the space, especially when you compare it to the farm of the Anti-Mage. But still, it's going to be a major item for this Medusa, which is a step in the right direction. And they have all of their blinks available, as well as now almost a 4-staff and 1 item on top of it for everybody. Still, one of the tools that's missing for them is the Elder Titan having that natural order maxed out, but now with 2 points into it, Iluka is going to back off from that. Lasso down in bottom, they find themselves seduced, and with the Witch Doctor ultimate, Pulse on this time, however, has the Mana Shield on, and it's going to take a lot longer for them to get this kill, but they'll get the kill nonetheless. Iluka drops the Spirit, it's going to land on multiple heroes, but they don't get the stop, and the Ravage is going to completely miss. No, it hits okay, as well as FCFC on the bottom, excuse me, as they do get the duel into the Razor, now chase down okay, never mind, that Ravage was pretty darn good. Blade Mail on to Miracle's not going to be enough to save anybody. Now Miracle too low, they get the vision with the sticky napalm, although it's purged off almost instantly. Gush on to goes. Kazakemba is trying to focus down somebody, not draining up demand to really go for that mana void, and he doesn't have the mana for it anyways. To chase down the Bat Rider. Now Kazakemba in a bit of a pickle, going to start focusing down the Rubik. The damage coming out from this Anti-Mage is pretty huge. They don't have a lift, however, and Anti-Mage is able to blink TP out. It's going to be a 4-for-3 trade.
Anti-Mage just kind of the salvation for his team at the moment. He keeps on farming up, he keeps escaping those fights as well. So that's definitely positive. If you can get the Manta Style, for example, his power in the fights is just gonna multiply, especially if you're going up against Poloson. Mana drain him completely. And if only the Medusa had to just Stone Gaze at that fight, or in that fight. Whoa! Keshi going way too deep, Miracle. He has the duel, he's gonna pop it with the Blade Mail activated. What the hell was Anti-Mage thinking, man? He was the only saving grace, but he lost his life as well.
Yeah, don't do that, kids. That's not something that you're supposed to do. Under some circumstances, it's okay to look for those very greedy cuttings of the creep wave. But there's a Medusa that he saw in lane, and there's always the threat that somebody is behind him. So unless you have map vision of all 5 of the heroes, going for something like that is so risky, especially when you have the likes of a blinking Leech Commander on the enemy team. And he's going to show us why that's a bad idea. We're going to have smoke coming out from Invasion, looking potentially towards Medusa up top. They've consecutively looked for this gank, and, well, as long as they catch out just the Medusa, they should be able to find it. But the last couple of times, they've caught a little bit more than they could chew. But with the Firefly looking for the Blink Lasso initiation, Pulson is going to avoid it. The 4-staff used to get in range for the Lasso, but they'll be able to get it off onto Pulson. With the ultimate of the Witch Doctor, still not doing enough damage. With Stone Gaze, it's going to be enough to cancel off that Witch Doctor ultimate, and Pulson's going to make it out more or less unscathed, as it's just his mana pool that's going to suffer because of that gank. So it's a couple of ultimates traded after all is said and done, but that's about all that happens, and it's more or less a wasted smoke coming up from Invasion. First Departure are going to be really happy that their Medusa survived there.
Without the Anti-Mage, without any kind of mana burn being present, it's just already almost impossible to get a kill on Medusa, as we just witnessed. I'm not too sure if they should even go look for the Medusa. Of course, it's they want to initiate on really anybody they can find. The Medusa is usually the one just even slightly out of position just because he can with the mana shield. But they need the mana break and they need this early. But wow, Rubik got himself the blink. Not too hard to steal, of course, from an Anti-Mage, but any kind of mobility for Rubik is going to be excellent. Just going to be able to maybe even steal the Chain Frost, for example. And I don't know how, but Miracle, he's number 2 in net worth, 7, 2, and 4. He got shut down rather hard as bottom. Oh god.
Yeah, the duel, it is single target, but it's still enough damage coming out from Miracle, getting enough charges. They're going to blink forward, looking for a lasso, but it's on cooldown for 3 seconds, so he can't do anything with that. Miracle's able to find these solo kills, even on a Razor with the maxed out passive.
Without Dafa coming in with the Gush, probably we wouldn't have won the duel. It was so close, but the duration is so deceptively long. 4.75 seconds on level 2 already. Man, Miracle. How much damage does he have? 86 points of it. It's like if he... Oh, well, that's nice. Some goal for them. Gonna be Manta Style finished for himself, getting the courier snipe. But still, I think just Legion Commander, he has gotten way too much. I think I saw a game yesterday or the day before where a Legion Commander had 0 points of damage stolen like 29 minutes into the game or something. He's already up to 86.
And now in mid, he's going to find Kestikimba and just shred him to bits.
Oh.
Legion Commander is also going to get the deny on the tower. at 100 damage, this is damage that the Leech Commander is happy to get at all in the game, but only 22 minutes, Miracle is completely snowballing, and he's played this Leech Commander fairly well, finding all of the openings, and now he can look for those openings by himself, and on top of it, going to steal a couple of Ancients away from the Anti-Mage.
It's so sick how well he's played, and ever since he got the Blade Mail, he can just allow to go so much more aggressive. Lobby though, speaking of aggression, Tafak, does he have enough? Blink, Ravage comes in, they get idiot here, Blink out by Lobby as well, Anti-Mage just spell steal coming into play. They're gonna find it okay, together with FC Aluka, wants to go for the Echo Stone, paralyzing cast, does cancel it, Miracle. Doesn't have the duel quite yet, Batrider kills of Lobby in the end, but it's a 1-for-1 for supports in this skirmish here. Miracle is gonna have his duel now, almost done with a BKB. God, I mean, you try to shut that hero, that player down, but he just finds a way back.
Yeah, and he's finding a way back in a big way. Although the Anti-Mage has his Manta Style and Battle Fury completed, this Leech Commander is going to continuously be the biggest issue for Invasion to deal with in the team fights. They have some good ways to lock down Miracle, but if he's the one to find the jump and you don't get the jump on him, you are going to die, no matter who you are. Unless you have a whole lot of heroes in backup. Most importantly, Witch Doctor with his ultimate, or... yeah, that's about it. Maybe Batrider with the lasso. But yeah, right now Anti-Mage, he's going to be stocked, but they won't be able to find him. Blink forward by Miracle a little bit too late as the Blink Away comes out from the Anti-Mage simultaneously. Still, First Departure are going to be pretty comfortable in this game, despite going up against the Anti-Mage. It's at the top of the net worth chart. The next three are on the side of First Departure. Leech Commander, and then the Medusa, who now has enough gold for that Lincoln Sphere.
I think the biggest deal is really that Legion Commander, yes, he's won the duels, but just one too many has been on the Anti-Mage. If Anti-Mage had been farming, free farming completely the entire time, just split pushing and whatnot, it would still be fine because he would most likely be like 3-4k net worth above the others. But since he's gone for the slightly greedy plays, he's got them picked off twice in like 5 minutes, I think. And now even forced to go for a BKB by the looks of it. It's just not looking all that good. Anti-Mage, he's gonna have to step up his game, but not only that, Razor, he from the get-go was shut down, but mid lane they're gonna go in. Miracle, he does get the Blade Mail and the BKB off both. Dafa doesn't have his ultimate, but there's the duel once again. He's gonna win it for sure. Earth Splitter helps out a little bit. Kechik just couldn't do enough even with the Manta Style. Lasso even stolen from Lobby. Might not be able to put it to use, but another kill, another duel won. This guy does a crazy amount of damage already. I mean, he has, what, like 277 damage?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and 114 of that is stolen. At this point in the game, that's crazy. You usually don't see that on Leech Commanders ever, and once they get that, they're completely online. He's able to kill anybody he wants as long as he's able to get the cast off beforehand, which is costing him a little bit when he goes for the anti-mage kill, because he does have to cast the press the attack as well as the Blade Mail before jumping in. But still, Miracle is scary, and the Medusa's about to get there as well, sending out the completed Lincoln Sphere to herself, and as well as having 3,000 gold on top of that. Polison's also going to become a pretty potent threat inside these team fights. Despite having an anti-mage up against them, they should be able to bring down this AM with the duels coming out from the Legion Commander. And the way that this game is boiled down is going to be benefiting First Departure. And oh, Razor. Oh, Razor. Press the attack, Blade Mail, duel onto FCFC. Although the attack speed slow is going to be really annoying, does he get enough procs to get this solo kill before the duel ends? No, he won't, but he should be able to pursue this. Has no overwhelming odds. We'll throw that out. He needs one more attack, and he's going to back off. It's a little too dangerous because of the threat of people jumping in. The TP is cancelled, but FZ is going to make it out alive, mostly because Leech Commander didn't catch enough creeps next to him to get that extra procs of the Moment of Courage, excuse me. Roshan is going to be attempted by First Departure. They have plenty of damage to do this, although the Gush doesn't hit the first time around, as they don't pop the Lincoln Sphere or magic immunity spell block thing on Roshan fast enough. They'll be able to do so quickly. TP up top coming up from the Tidehunter, looking for a blink. He's not going to be able to get it off, and in fact, it's going to be jumped on by the Batrider. Even with the Kraken Shell buffing off that lasso, it's still going to be a fairly easy kill for them. TPN coming up from Leech Commander is going to go for this and then blink instantly back. That was a little bit risky for Miracle, but without the Batrider initiation, it's safe enough. Aluka as well as Pulsar are trading the aggro on Roshan. Although it's not a very fast one, they should be able to do it, although Razor's close. If he gets a plasma field inside the pit, that's a dead of their Titan, so Aluka needs to be very careful.
That was just a really weird sequence of events from First Departure. First Tidehunter TPing in alone like that. And oh, FC is gonna go in. No plasma field yet. He's gonna go for it. Kai, he stays alive with the magic stick. They're gonna get the Roshan. Lasso stolen from Lobby, used onto FC. Poloson pops the Stone Gaze as well. Miracle, he arrives, but Ketchik, he gets the BKB. Both activate BKBs. Will the physical damage be enough to bring down the anti-mage? It doesn't look like it. He's not gonna win the duel. There's the Chain Frost gonna come out almost perfectly. Takes care of one hero, but it's only Aegis anyway. Kai is in the Crouch Pit. Gonna be taken out. Ghost. Firefly ends. Lobby. Telekinesis up. Not thrown to the high ground though. He force-stabbed himself away. Lobby, he's gonna give a chase. Tafa Task meet up with him, so they're gonna get the kill in the end. And whoa, Miracle with the haste rune chases down Lich as well. So I think it's a 2-4-1 plus Aegis.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It's not a great trade for either side, but then again, it's not a lost fight by First Departure, and they get the win as far as experience is concerned. Over 1,000 on the Miracle, who's now at level 17, so the spells aren't going to get any better, but still the 114 damage stolen by Leech Commander is almost going to be backbreaking for Invasion. It's a synergy that we didn't talk about much inside the draft, but they do have that Earth Splitter now available for the Elder Titan to drop inside those duels, and now Yule Scepter as well. This Elder Titan is now online, although it took a long time. He does have the maxed out Spirit as well as the Aura Blade Mail as well as the jump in. He duels Illusion though. It's going to be Miracle now, jumped on. He's forced to pop a BKB, but the damage coming up from the Witch Doctor ultimate might be enough. They just need a little bit more, and they're going to find it as Leech Commander dies to the tower. Pulson is being focused down by a couple of Manta Illusions, but with the ultimate coming out from the Medusa as well as the Yule Scepter onto the AM, they should be able to make themselves scarce. But the blink forward by the Batrider, he wants to find the jump with the lasso, but Force Staff already expent, won't be able to find it. First Departure, it looks like they're going to be able to make a clean getaway, as there's not really much else that Invasion can use to chase them out.
That was a pretty huge kill, and Miracle, well, I mean, he got baited, 100% anti-mage. Nice control of the Manta-style illusions there. I mean, that was exactly what they needed at the moment to try to get any kind of control back for this game. I mean, FCFC, he's gonna have his BKB soon enough. Or does he have it flying out? Yes, he does, so he has the BKB now. Miracle gonna be a little bit slower on whether he's AC or the Mjolnir, whichever one it may be. Probably AC. But of course, Medusa hasn't died yet, has the double ultimate orb, so he's gonna have the Skadi, get more stats, just beef up, do more damage, kite people around. And I still think First Departure, although they lost that one hero, they should be perfectly fine with just how the game has been going overall for them.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Anti-Mage with the BKB as well as the Mantis style, now working towards the heart, is going to be a constant threat inside the team fights. But I'm not sure he does enough damage. He might be able to focus down the Medusa, but even though he's able to chew through the spell shield, or mana shield rather, it's not really enough. I think he needs a Basher, and well, smoke popped, it's going to be instantly revealed. As Lubby now knows that somebody is close, and he's going to have to book it as the Anti-Mage is the one there.
So Dafa, wow, he's gonna have his own refresher orb in 3 minutes, not 3 minutes, 300 gold for the Tide. Make it 140 gold now. Refresher, double Tide, Ravage, level 3 as well. It's just gonna boost their teamfight so much. Of course, Anti-Mage and the Razor, they both have BKBs. Everybody else though will be stopped until Ghost finds another 600 or so gold for his own BKB. But even if the Aghanims comes out on the Witch Doctor, which he's pretty close to 600 gold, can the Witch Doctor even get the just good ultimate off in a proper team fight?
I don't think so. Tidehunter is going to be running into some mana issues as he just has the Force Staff Arcane Boots on top of this Refresher Orb as well as the Blink. But if he pops his Arcane Boots, he should have enough mana for both of his ultimates as well as for a Gush and maybe an Anchor Smash on top of it, although he is going to be cutting it pretty close. Anti-Mage is able to make his way out from top, but the Manta-style illusions are still going to be a little bit of a nuisance to Miracle, draining some of his mana. But there's your Refresher, completed on the Tidehunter, and Witch Doctor's Aghanims, still quite a decent ways away from that. A little bit more than 400, and as a support, not going to be able to farm that as fast, but should have it before the next major fight, unless something else breaks out. There are some pings going on to Miracle. I think the Witch Doctor knows what's up, and the Batrider and company should be able to make it out safely. So
that's going to be Eye of Skadi finish for Medusa. In the meantime, Anti-Mage continues to try to farm up his, well, what's most likely going to be the heart. I doubt it's just a vitality booster casual in his inventory at the moment. So heart, not a bad choice in the sense that you're probably not going to get duel to death at the very least. You should be able to survive that. Yeah, it's going to be straight off heart for him. Poloson with a haste rune, just slithering his way. They want, well, it's really the last outer tower for Invasion.
Yeah, and it's not looking too healthy either. At 660 damage, they should be able to take this pretty quickly. They're going to start chipping it down with a couple of Medusa auto attacks. They'll turn off the split shot and now just start focusing down proper invasion. They can't really fight into this, especially without their anti-mage, but AM probably needs to get back in here, as First Departure could have potentially gone for a high ground push, but they're going to decide against it, feeling it's a little too risky, especially pushing up into a Batrider. It's understandable, and they don't know exactly where that anti-mage is, as he could have been inside the base already.
It's definitely smarter for them. Maybe even wait for the next Roshan if you want to play it extremely safe. Of course, anti-mage, although he was rather slowed down a couple of times with just 2 deaths at some point, but he is still 6,000, almost 6 at least, net worth ahead of the next highest in the game. That just goes to show how strong an anti-mage can be in just farming, how fast he can farm up. There was a point when I think Legion was like 13,000 and anti-mage was 14. So the difference, it's sick how fast it comes. Of course, Miracle hasn't really found any dual kills for quite some time as well. He's been on that 114 points of damage, I think from like this 27th or 8th minute.
Yeah. Even though Anti-Mage has a lot of farm, it's put mostly into defensive items, and nothing that's really going to help him hit insanely harder. He's still going to hit hard onto the Medusa, but I think for this next team fight, First Departure, they probably can ignore this Anti-Mage through the most of it. And even though he has a heart, I still think they have enough damage to focus him down, especially since there's no real good sources of that plus armor outside of the Lich armor. He's only going to be operating with 9, which is going to mean that Lich Commander with a now completed Assault Cuirass is going to be hitting with close to pure damage, although not entirely.
Oh, at the moment Miracle has a double damage rune as well. Probably not gonna find anybody since they're really on the opposite sides of the map at the moment. First Departure going into the Radiant jungle. Invasion, the dire one. There's not too many towers left as it is. Invasion, they're pushing the only lane that has the tier 2 tower down already. And First Departure, are they gonna go high ground? Are they gonna force the hand? Or who's gonna back off first?
I think right now it's a game of chicken, but I think First Departure, they could probably just go high ground. Right now, it's also going to be Invasion making the same decision, and for now, it's going to be a straight-up trade. Glyph comes out from the Radiant. Dire Glyph is not being spent yet. Just, I don't know. I suppose not scared enough.
Invasion are losing this fight so fast.
Yeah.
There's AC already on Miracle.
And they're going to focus on the melee barracks. They take the melee barracks. Dafa's going to be able to get the Ravage off before the BKB comes up from the AM. The secondary Ravage doesn't come out as he is lasted up with Witch Truck Ultimate bouncing through. It's doing quite a bit of damage to First Departure, but everybody's surviving for now, as well as the Stone Lasso being spent against the Kimba. He's not going to be able to get out of the Stone form fast enough. He will be able to blink away, but Scotty's doing a little bit of work chasing down these heroes. It's a 1-for-1 Batrider for Rubik trade, but crucially, First Departure, they're the ones to get the melee barracks, and they'll be happy with what they've taken so far.
Oh, they most certainly will. Anti-Mage, of course, only thanks to the heart I think he survived here. And maybe not the best focus fire from First Departure either. Second Ravage, a little bit too late maybe. He didn't really want to use it into BKBs, that's why he was holding on to it, but he had to stop the Witch Doctor from just channeling the ultimate, which is again buffed now as well. But only losing a Rubik, getting melee racks. No matter that you had to use double Ravage, it's just so worth it. And the Invasion, I don't think they were aware of the fact that Miracle has his AC finished at the time. Without AC, the push would have been quite a lot slower probably. Just the minus armor even on the buildings is so crucial. And Poloson, does he have something else flying out? Yes, Eagle Song, so he's gonna have a butterfly soon enough.
Anti-Mage is going to blink forward onto Pulson, focuses him down, eating through that shield. Isn't going to find the courier this time around. So courier is going to make it back safely, and Pulson's getting close to that butterfly. Once he has that item, Anti-Mage is going to be a lot less scary for him inside the team fights. Even that 35% evasion chance is going to be very useful for Pulson, making sure that these illusions, as well as the Anti-Mage himself, aren't able to do the damage. And we saw in the last fight, the Anti-Mage really didn't do all that much. I don't even think he threw out his ultimate. The Witch Doctor was the major source of damage, and once that ultimate was cancelled, Invasion weren't really able to focus down any of the other heroes, except for the Rubik, which is pretty sad for them. First Departure were able to come away with the structure kill, and not much more on top of it. The duel almost winning for the Legion Commander. Anti-Mage, he's surviving, which is good for an Anti-Mage. We have a lasso onto the Medusa. They're able to pop the Lincoln Throws with Force Staff. Now focused on Pulse on with the Manta-style illusions, but Force Staffs are going to keep Medusa a little bit safer. Are they able to get her out in time? She's going to turn for a Mystic Snake. She's able to get it off, and it bounces to a lot of heroes. Will regenerate her mana, but now with the Anti-Mage, she's thrown up in the air by Yule's Scepter of the Elder Titan, and that's going to stop Kesagimba from falling. And with the Witch Doctor ultimate channeling on the Miracle, Miracle can't live, and now they focus down Pulse on. Pulse on completely tapped out of mana. They're going to be able to bring down the 2 farm cores of the enemy team, and that's a Witch Doctor dropping the ward as well, but it's not enough damage, and now they drop down the Tide Hunter and chase down the Rubik. It's going to be a triple kill for Kesagimba, a lost gem, and a full team wipe in the favor of Invasion.
How the hell did they take that fight? Okay, I understand, no Ravages, no double Ravage, no nothing. They got the jump onto Medusa, so Stone Gaze didn't do that much in the middle of the fight before First Departure arrived. But I just think First Departure maybe should have backed off. Death Ward was pretty excellent from Witch Doctor as well. It got stolen by Rubik, but Rubik doesn't have the Aghanim, so it's not half as scary, of course. Just really, I don't know, excellent fight.
It didn't start out well for First Departure. First the Medusa's forced to use her ultimate, then they duel on the Anti-Mage, which is a target that they can't really bring down inside the duel. And once they'd spent all of those ultimates on the sidelines, Tidehunter's too far away to go off the Ravage against the Witch Doctor ultimate, and the Elder Titan Yules up the Anti-Mage during the duel duration, effectively wasting a third of that, or more than a third of that time. And with that fight, Invasion are able to take Roshan. Their Anti-Mage is getting dangerously close to being completely 6-slotted.
Yeah, he has enough for the Butterfly now. I mean, Eagle Song, he had to drop it down for the Aegis, but picked up by Batrider, so he has enough gold for it.
Yeah, and he might consider saving for buyback, but once he loses Aegis, he is going to be 6-slotted. Kesagimba is really scary, and I don't think they have the tools to bring him down anymore. We kind of saw it in the last fight, even though he was dueled and they threw most of what they had into him. With all of the armor that he does have, if the Elder Titan's not close enough, and even when he's not, the ice armor is also pretty crucial there. Yeah, it's really scary for First Departure. They're by no means out of it, and they're the ones with the Rax advantage. But right now, the momentum is in Invasion's favor.
So there's a couple of things as well. I mean, for Invasion, for example, Lich, he can provide the ice armor, which is definitely going to help out. But Lich, he has 777 HP. He's going to have to stay at the sidelines of the fight. I mean, otherwise, double Ravage already will pretty much kill him. I mean, you don't really need any extra damage after that. And well, the same kind of applies for the Rubik. Rubik a little bit more mobile with his Blink Dagger, but Invasion, they're smoked up. They want to get another good fight. This time around, they're up against double Ravage though. It's gonna make their lives that much harder, but they have the Aegis, so why the hell not?
Yeah, I suppose not. They could, in theory, go for it for now.
Just look at the graphs from that last fight.
Yeah. It's pretty ridiculous. Neither team's really made a huge lead in this game. The largest lead was held by First Departure at 7,500, but when you're 35 plus minutes in, 7,500 gold lead is very negligible, especially when you look at how the gold is distributed. It's all in the pockets of the Anti-Mage, and although the Lich has nothing, it's a Lich. He's pretty much there for Ice Armor and Chain Frost, and once he gets off those spells, it's okay if he dies, or if he doesn't contribute anything on top of that. So although the bottom heroes coming out from Invasion are suffering, the Witch Doctor has his Ags, and Anti-Mage has all of the items in the world, which is pretty much everything the Invasion needs.
Well, Razor is still gonna have to find a little bit more farm. Shiva's card definitely gonna help out. If only they had an AC of their own now, and maybe when Vladimir's offering to help out Anti-Mage even more, get the lifesteal going as well. He is still pretty tanky, but I mean, lifesteal wouldn't hurt. The problem is though that usually you would want Vlads to be built on supports, but neither of the supports really want to go into the fight and just be there and provide the aura. So they might not even get it throughout the entirety of this game. AC, Razor can definitely build it after the Shivas. But this Anti-Mage, so much hinges on him. So far, Witch Doctor has gotten off a couple of good death wards with the Aghanims, of course, as well. But I don't really expect that to be the case when Tidehunter actually has the Ravage.
I think that's fair. Out of the two supports, I think Witch Doctor is going to be the one to build the Vlads if there's a Vlads at all, and I think it would be a worthy investment for him. Honestly, I don't think there's an item that's going to give him much more than that. As far as effectiveness, lifesteal as well as about an extra 20 damage on the Anti-Mage is going to be wonderful for them. So even though he might not be able to get the aura entirely through the fight, even just a couple of seconds of lifesteal could make the difference. And Yeah, I think it's worth it. Right now, dewarding coming out from Lubby is pinged out, but they won't be able to find him. Firefly from the Batrider is going to be unfruitful. It's already from First Departure is defensively positioned enough to where they're able to stay away from this initiation, but the push is coming down in bottom, out from Invasion. Anti-Mage now working onto the tower. Let's see how this fight is going to break out. It might break out soon, or this Choo-Choo Tower might be given away. Let's see, blink away from the Anti-Mage, and nothing's going to happen as Invasion pull out and First Departure defend.
I did not expect First Departure to even bother with the defense, but I guess they want to have at least one tower that allows them for slightly easier Roshan access. And how long is the Aegis still up? Only for 1 minute, so I have a feeling that this Aegis might not even come into play at all, or the First Departure, having smoked up, I guess they want to go for the jump. I'm not too sure if it's even smart to go looking for a fight as the Aegis is about to expire anyway.
Yeah, I suppose so. Or just kind of waiting until that Aegis expires, and both teams are stalling out a little bit. Anti-Mage is going to get his boots of travel, so now is completely 6-slotted. Eventually, he might consider replacing that Black King bar when it's down to 5 seconds, although up against a Ravage, it's not really something you can do. It's also double Ravage, so I'm not sure if he can afford to not have it. Honestly, I'm not sure what Anti-Mage is going to do. At this point, his effectiveness is capped, and Medusa still has room to grow. With the Scotty Lincoln Sphere, Butterfly still has 2 slots to replace, as well as getting Boots of Travel. Then bottom, it's actually First Departure to make the move. Just putting pressure onto these ranged barracks. Any damage that they get is going to be permanent. Pulson's going to plink a couple of arrows into it and potentially just take it. With the press of the attack, Pulson's going to snag it with Invasion not reacting at all. Eventually, that barracks would have fallen, but it's still a win for First Departure. It's a free barracks.
Yeah, and Anti-Mage TP is back already as well. I would have thought he might even just try to pressure a TF3 of his own, maybe get some sneaky racks. He did want to come back maybe to finish up or just get the Butterfly onto him as well. But is it even worth it for him to just at some point get rid of the Battle Fury and go for a Monkey King bar instead, or is just the split pushing power too strong of the Battle Fury?
I think getting rid of the Battle Fury and either getting a Monkey King bar or an Abyssal Blade would be a great choice for him. It depends on who he wants to focus down in the team fights. If it's the Medusa, getting the Monkey King bar I think is the better choice, but if it's the Leech Commander and the other heroes, I think going for the Abyssal is better. Is just being able to have that staying power as well as just the raw damage would be nicer for Kesekimba. It's going to be the Batrider to pick up the Vlads. He'll be one that's sticking in the fights a lot longer than these two supports, but then again, it's also going to stymie Batrider's ability to grow as far as items are concerned. He's completely capped out in the slots, holding onto a gem, Blink, Force, BKB, and Tranquil Boots.
It's definitely going to be hard for him, but they're really banking everything they have on the Anti-Mage at the moment, since even Batrider with a Refresher Orb might just not be enough. He might just not get off both of them, to be honest, with the damage output coming in from First Departure as well. FC getting some more gold as well on the Razor, farming up slowly as Ghost is gonna get caught the duel. Medusa helps out a little bit. Finally, Miracle wins another one. They're gonna get the telekinesis onto Razor as well. They can't afford to give away heroes like that. BKB not gonna help with the mech, or is it? Never mind, Earth Splitter stops the TP. Just easy 2 kills.
Yeah, First Departure, they also hold on to their Tier 2 tower. They don't even come what they came for in Vision, but they don't lose their Anti-Mage, so it's not the end of the world for them, and have buyback on the Razor. Still, First Departure are holding pretty strong. Invasion haven't even threatened high ground once this game, and they're the ones that are down a set of racks. This Anti-Mage, although he's incredibly scary now, in the next 10 minutes, once Leech Commander gets another item, as does the Medusa, looking for a Daedalus potentially on Medusa or Monkey King bar, whichever Pulson prefers. I think it's going to be Monkey King bar, and Leech Commander gets her heart completed. First Departure are going to be the scarier ones, and now they put pressure on the Tier 3 tower in mid. Anti-Mage needs to get back to the base, and indeed he will. But now they're in a bit of a pickle. The Batrider has no buyback. Jumping from Kesekimba, trying to focus down Dolphin. Gets off the first Ravage, but can't get off the second one. The Mana Boy's going to do a decent amount of damage. Miracle's focused down Kesekimba, but with Dr. Ultimate bouncing through, it's going to be too much for them to handle. Pulson's being focusing down Kesekimba, looking for the split shot. It isn't going to be enough to kill off the Anti-Mage as he Blink disjoints at 80 HP, and the Medusa's the one to fall. Blinks away from Lubby will keep himself safe, as well as the secondary Blink. That Anti-Mage surviving there is crucial for Invasion. They also defend. It's a huge win for them.
Just Death Ward, decent-ish. Chain Frost though,
just a little bit.
Chain Frost just did so damn much. It wrecked Medusa, got him out of mana completely. And I don't know how Invasion defend, especially with Batrider not even being a part of that fight, but excellent jump really. Razor, he baited it out kind of. And anti-mage, man, just clutch escape.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he doesn't really have anything to do with his extra money now. And First Butcher have buybacks, but actually they still have one Ravage as well.
Yeah, but still, they don't want to spend those, and they're going to be forced to buy back on the Medusa as well as the Tidehunter. Bubbling Lasso Initiation, Levy ripped apart by Kesagimba. It's going to be another fight. The Invasion are doing pretty well, and the Split Earth is going to land on a lot of heroes, but doesn't do enough damage. The Mystic Snake also bouncing through. They're losing a tier 3 tower at the very least, and Medusa needs to be careful. Kesagimba is going to Manta Dodge the Anchor Smash. Lincoln Sphere popped onto Polis on. He's still focused down the range barracks, but the Stomp comes out into Kesagimba. Can they even focus him down, however? Whenever Leech Commander commits to these fights, she's fully committing in with the duel. The range barracks still survive. One auto attack from the Razor is going to secure that Force Staff away. Looking for a Ravage. They won't be able to cancel FCFC's TP, and the Blink away from the Batrider as well as from Kesagimba is going to make sure that everybody's surviving. 2 buybacks forced out from First Departure, but they held on to their melee barracks, so it's a defense question mark, but First Departure just lost so much. Still, Anti-Mage can't do anything with the gold that he won in that last fight, and we're going to have a pause at a pretty unfortunate time. Anti-Mage at this point could probably be buying the wards as well as the gem for his team, but Lich is continuing to do so. ADTR is poor as dirt with Tranquil Boots as well as the Bracer, but as long as he's able to get off his ultimate, that's all that really matters. These Witch Doctor as well as Lich ultimates in the last fights, they've really been where the damage comes out from Invasion.
Oh, they most certainly have, and I have to agree. I think that overall, in general, enough cores do not do this when it comes to late game, because the cores are going to have so much money. Why not buy just maybe even get like 50 sentries for the support so they can sentry the entire map, something like that if you're up against the Invis heroes. I saw a game like that where like Medusa, they were up against supersized mega creeps, and he had like 80k, 18,000 or something like that, yet the support still had to go for the sentries. The supports, I mean, they're not going to get any big items, probably, or not too fast, but any little helps. For example, Witch Doctor, if he gets a BKB, he can almost guaranteed get off a huge just death ward. And one thing is that the one fight where Batrider and Razor lost their lives, the gem was dropped by the Batrider at this hill here where the ward is, and it is still down there.
Yeah. That's, I don't know, really weird. I don't know, and they have vision of it. They have a ward there. They know there's a gem, but they just haven't gotten around to picking it up. They used to have a gem on the Rubik, but they've since dropped that. Hopefully, First Departure will look at their map and see that little glowing gem on the ground. But what? What?
What?
What?
Wow, this. I hope. What is CC? Concede? Don't say it's concede, man.
Please, guys.
Maybe they're talking about another tournament. I don't know.
They better.
I hope so, because this would be so retarded, especially if they were actually to win this game here. It's like, oh, sorry, we can't play the other two. So you advance. Good luck.
Adios. See ya later. It was fun.
That would be so sick. I mean, First Departure have to pause. Invasion is like, okay, guys, we can't handle the pause. we concede.
Can't handle it. We're leaving.
That's the protest, man. The protest. Anti-mage up to 7k gold though. Even Elder Titan has 3k. Probably you won't be able to put it to good use for really anything. I guess save lads for themselves might not be too bad. Help out the Legion Commander. Get some extra armor, and even Medusa just boosting up the base damage.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Vlad's is an item that almost every team should consider getting. Kind of like Mechanism, but it scales better, and the extra aura is really nice. Even though it's not the best 6-slotted item as a support, what else are you going to buy that's going to have more impact? A Scythe would be nice in theory, but you're never going to see that gold, especially on the likes of a Rubik. I think there's just nothing better to buy, especially when you look at a Medusa, as well as a Leech Commander that would get about the same amount of damage from it as a Claymore, and then Lifesteal on the Leech Commander. It's just all around really good, not to mention the 5 armor.
So, looks like Miracle is gonna go for that heart as well now. Just needs the Ancients. If he farms up the Ancients, should have enough for the Vitality booster. He already bought back, I think. Yes, no, never mind, he didn't, but he's not gonna save for back as well by the looks of it. It makes sense somewhat, since First Departure, they're gonna mostly 5-man anyway. And if they're gonna lose a fight, if they're gonna lose the Medusa and Tidehunter who don't have buybacks anyway, you might as well go all out, because Legion Commander by himself won't be able to defend as it is. So, in a sense, I can understand not saving for buyback. But if they start going off solo now, it's going to be a huge mistake. But this heart will mean that it's going to be kind of on just even playing field with the anti-mage.
Yeah. Leech Commander is probably going to go ahead and replace that Blade Mail eventually, but I don't know. For now, Leech Commander is looking pretty good as far as the items are concerned. And just the damage coming out from the Legion is pretty significant. 132 stolen. The Leech Commander hasn't really gotten much for the last 30 minutes. I think it's only like one or two dual victories in that duration. But still, it's a decent amount of damage. I said earlier on that most Legions would be happy at this in the late game, and I think that Miracle, despite not snowballing as hard as he was earlier, is still going to be happy with the amount of damage that he's outputting. Although it's not enough to kill off the anti-mage, all of the other heroes need to be very careful. And at this point, I think that First Departure, although it's not ideal for them, need to focus down the other 4 heroes before going for the AM. Honestly, I think the biggest issue for them is that Medusa doesn't have her Daedalus completed. They just need that, or Monkey King Bar, excuse me. They just need that extra boost of damage.
He was so close to just finishing it up as well, but had to buy back in the last fight here. So first dying, losing some gold, having to buy back as well, definitely set him back quite a lot. Anti-Mage doesn't have his own either really, but he can just focus the other targets and then Medusa solo, or overall Medusa. He does a reasonable amount of damage, but it's not that much. And when you said that First Departure may even just be at a point where they have to focus the other targets apart for the anti-mage, I kind of have to agree with you there, because anti-mage, they've been trying to duel him for so many fights now, it hasn't worked out at all because he's just been way too tanky. At least they're gonna get Roshan, and it's with the cheese as well. With this they can maybe be a little more bold in their just decision making and going for maybe even just face diving another set of racks, for example, and well, the drawing comes out as well, just straight down the mid lane.
Yeah, they're going to have the Aegis on the pulse on 2 lives for him, as well as Dafa getting the cheese. In the fights, he hasn't been able to get off his double ultimate as fast as he'd want to because of the anti-mage mana burn, as well as just not having anything else to bolster his own mana pool. Working towards the Shivas, eventually he'll have that, maybe just an AC for Dafa, to be honest. But either way, no matter what that plate mail item is going to be, he's going to be able to make sure that he gets off both of his ultimates. And with a fairly low duration BKB on the anti-mage, it could be enough for them to bring him down. Although still, First Departure, even though they have Aegis, this is fairly risky. Anti-Mage gets the tower deny, and that might be all that they get. Okay, he's being shredded apart by the Medusa, and with the first Ravage, they focus down Kesakimba. They have a duel available. They're not going to spend it yet, but they'll be able to get it off onto the Anti-Mage. Anti-Mage down. He's going to be forced to buy back, as is the Witch Doctor, to get up the Witch Doctor ultimate, as well as the Chain Frost. Bouncing on the backlines. Everybody's falling so darn low. Lubby, as well as the Elder Titan, are going to be dropped. That's a lot of their auras taken out of this fight. Miracle doesn't have an Aegis or anything of the sort. He's able to make his way towards the north of this fight, but Pulse out of mana is going to be forced to pop this Aegis, and now with only a Tidehunter in backup, they don't have a single Ravage to help out this Medusa, and this might be it for the Medusa. Doesn't have an ultimate. The mana is being drained by these anti-mage illusions, and they're going to focus now on the Miracle as well as Dafa and Palasan. They're all fairly low and should all die here. Duel going to the Razor. That's going to be fed damage to FZ, or will it be? Not getting enough procs. It is going to end up giving that extra 18 damage to Razor. Now focused down Dafa. This is going to be the last hero to fall on the side of First Departure and Invasion. After starting out that fight in a very awkward way, they're going to be able to clean houses. First Departure, after spending their Ravages as well as all of their big ultimates and losing their supports, probably should have got out of there.
They most certainly should have just made their way out. Of course, the Chain Frost was kind of following them as they were trying to disengage. So a little bit lucky with the Chain Frost bounces there, slowing them down so they couldn't get out. But Miracle not getting off the duel in the start of the fight, really on anybody, was a huge deal. And oh, Anti-Mage is gonna go balls deep, wants to go for Kai. Doesn't quite get it, so gonna go back for the melee racks. Gonna succeed as well. The buybacks just making a huge difference there. And First Departure just a little bit too slow. I'm not too sure if they were not expecting the buybacks or they thought that their cheese and the Aegis will make them invincible. But Medusa got like semi-ignored in that fight. They're like, yeah, he has Aegis. So they killed everybody else or made them low enough so they have to back off and then just focus the Medusa.
Again, it's the Lich ultimate as well as the Witch Doctor ultimate that just wreck First Departure. The amount of damage that these two supports can put out is pretty awesome. Anti-Mage is tanking up on the front line. Although he does a decent amount of damage himself, it's still not enough. It's going to be Kesakimba shipping away the Manta style for a Basher, but at this point, they're 2 lanes ahead, and although they are going to be forced to back out after this, the tier 2 tower on bottom is still standing, and all of the heroes are back available. Invasion now have a complete Abyssal Blade on their Anti-Mage.
That's absolutely huge, man. That fight, suddenly they have the Rax advantage. Or, well, I guess they're only like one range per Rax ahead because they did lose that melee Rax in the last fight for themselves. So game is still pretty damn tight, to be honest. Looking at the graphs, it's just been going up and down ever so slightly. 2,500 net worth lead is absolutely nothing. 52 minutes in XP, looking at the same amount. So kills rather even between the teams, as is the XP and net worth. But who just has more momentum? First departure now with another double ravage. Oh, Ketchiki goes in, activates the Abyssal Blade onto Miracle. He's just too damn tanky though. He got his PKB. There's the Witch Doctor ultimate. Will it do enough? Earth Splitter still keeps on going. Miracle is so damn tanky. There's Ravage number 2 as well. Nobody's still down. I can't believe it. FC, he's on the run. Ketchik barely manages to blink out again. Less than 200 HP was remaining. Not able to chase him down though. Dafa goes in with the Ravage for what?
Okay, we'll pretend we didn't see that, Dafa. It's okay, you get to back off into the back lines of the fight and heal up. This Miracle takes the range barracks. All of the ultimates expend, however, First Departure can't go for any more than what they've already taken. That was so close to being a disaster for either side. Everybody's just so low, and then they're not able to focus anybody down. That Split Earth coming out from the Elder Titan was pretty sick. It would have been nice if Rubik got off the death ward faster than that, but Anti-Mage surviving on 200 HP is huge. And now, First Departure have to wait for 140 seconds before their double Ravage available.
What the hell was that second Ravage? Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was absolutely awful. There weren't even any illusions there because Anti-Mage doesn't have the Manta Style anymore.
It was a victory Ravage, I don't know.
It's like they needed the moral boost to just go for the range racks, man. It's like without the Ravage you can't kill range racks. You're not worth the sacrifice. I don't know, but it's now both teams having 2 racks down. I think Invasion have a slight advantage there because the top lane is just more annoying to push out, but that's about it. Polosan still does not have his Monkey King bar, whereas Miracle has the buyback. Him and Elder Titan the only ones to have it in this game at the moment. So they're maybe at a tiny advantage. But this Anti-Mage, man, he's been able to escape with like one right click away from death so many times.
Yep. This graph is actually ridiculous. Like, okay, so even though it looks really up and down, if you take this into consideration how small that advantage actually is, this might as well be a flatline graph. The advantage that's going either side hasn't broken one major item over all of the heroes, and right now it's only 2,500 in favor of Invasion. After that last fight, it's probably going to be pared down to 0. Both teams are going blow for blow, and it's pretty ridiculous. Kesekimba, he actually does have a Manta style. Just going to be trading that back and forth to the Courier, 7-slotted style. He's going to be able to siege with these a little bit, but honestly they do very little with the exception of dropping the Medusa's mana pool to about half, which is actually pretty significant. That did more than I thought it would. Kesekimba, ooh, on the backlines, they have a Bat Rare initiation available for Ghost. They pop the Lincoln Sphere, go for the lasso. They find themselves a Polosan. Follow with the Leech Commander. They're going to be able to purge off the Abyssal Blade as well as the but the Leech Ultimate's bouncing through. It's doing a lot of damage back and forth, but Kesekimba's the one to die. He's going to be able to blink away onto the backlines. The Witch Doctor is being channeled this time by, excuse me, the Rubik, but not able to get enough damage off Dafa with the Ravage. Is able to kill off the Bat Rare and they get the Anti-Mage on the backlines with a duel. Now focuses down okay with the Scotty Slow. They're going to be able to find that kill. FCFC TPing away. He'll make it back to safety, and the Lich is the only survivor there. It's still kind of in the fight, but he'll be able to make it back to base as well. But Anti-Mage down for 110 seconds, no buyback. First departure. If they knew this, they'd buy back on the Legion Commander and look to end this game, but even without it, I still think they can go for it. Casual Gem sitting behind the tier 2 tower, but that doesn't matter at this point. Still, First Departure blow this game wide open.
What an excellent fight, and they didn't even have double Ravage for that. Witch Doctor Ultimate was still pretty damn good, although I didn't see the Chain Frost. Maybe it did quite a lot, maybe it didn't. Miracle, he went so damn deep. He went against 3 heroes and still managed to bring down the Anti-Mage there. It was such a huge kill. He died straight after himself though, but he got the win on the duel. He got the extra damage from it, got Anti-Mage down. But Anti-Mage, he's gonna have buyback. And never mind, he's missing gold as well for buyback. It's not only the cooldown. First departure, man. Like I said, if only they knew Anti-Mage had no buyback, they would have just beelined for the last racks. Roshan, we're gonna know when it's gonna respawn. Maybe they're gonna get to grab another Aegis and Cheese. Medusa though, finally has the Monkey King bar finished. Has a double damage rune at the moment as well. Oh god, if only he had it in a fight. But when's Roshan gonna come up? Oh man, 5 seconds, no.
That's ridiculous. Rubik, don't get out of there. Okay, Lummy's going to scout this out. That is almost the fastest roach timer I've seen. I've seen it like 1 second respawn before, but that's very fortuitous for first departure. And now they have their Leech Commander up 30 seconds that they don't have to deal with an anti-mage. They're a little slow to getting into this pit, but they should be able to take this either way. Anti-mage, he held on to that Manta Style instead of selling it. He would have had buyback there. It's not going to matter. After all is said and done, both teams are going to be looking at exactly the same barracks. This map is mirrored on either side, but what's not going to be mirrored is the Aegis advantage. The first departure we're going to get. Right now, Invasion aren't in position to fight around the Roche pit, although they have a Batrider on their team, as well as a decent lineup for fighting around the Roche pit. It just falls too quickly at this point in the game, with the Assault Cuirass minus armor and just too many heroes right-clicking. Lubby, victory Death Ward, as that was about to time out in his thing, so he's going to do a little dance. She's on the deck, going to be picked up by Doffa, presumably. Yeah, there you go.
So Invasion just wasn't fast enough to get there. If they had gotten the jump tied out there, he was about 15 seconds away from having that Ravage off cooldown. He would have had to pop the Refresher Orb immediately. Could have been decent-ish, but Invasion, they're really not in a position to force the issues all that much. Anti-Mage still hasn't been able to farm up enough gold to just get the buyback ready. So this game, man, 58 minutes in. Invasion, I think they started a little bit better than First Departure at some point. Then First Departure took the upper hand for quite a while. And ever since then, just been lots of back and forth, like one team winning a fight, then another. How the hell is this gonna end? Are we just gonna see a base race at some point?
I would love to see a base race at some point. Teams, make it happen. But I honestly don't know.
They're gonna finally get the tier 2, I think. Manta Style plus an Illusion Rune as well for anti-mage.
Oh, rip tier 2 tower. Yeah, no way that they can actually stop this. This is going to completely tie up our tower score towards either side. Honestly, not that significant. First departure, I don't think they really could have done anything about that, and yeah, that's about it. Yeah, the illusions are going to be offed up by the Medusa. Yeah, continue.
I think I'm almost positive that First Departure, in theory at the release, they should be able to take this game just because their late game might be stronger with the heroes that they have. Just because Anti-Mage, he's been 6-slotted for quite some time now. He can go for maybe for like minor upgrades, but if he goes for a damaging item like a Monkey King bar to get through the butterfly, he's gonna have to drop his BKB maybe for it, which is gonna mean he's just gonna get disabled by double Ravage. If he drops Battle Fury, his pushing power, I guess it's not that important, but there's just more room for growth on First Departure. Miracle, he's a pretty strong beast as it is. Medusa can go for one additional item after the Aegis as well. I just think they're a little bit stronger, especially buffed up by the natural order. So Invasion, their support, especially the Witch Doctor, they're gonna have to pull out something magical, but it's just so hard to go for it.
TP in mid, they're looking for the Razor. They get the duel off on FCFC, and with Medusa right-clicking, this should be another duel victory for Miracle. Indeed it will. 103 seconds, no Razor, no buyback on him. Although they don't know it, this is an opening that First Departure have been looking for quite some time, and they're going to go for the Jugular. Tier 4 tower is going to be taken out by Miracle solo. The Anti-Mage isn't in position to defend this, they'll delay it with the Glyph, but this might be our last fight. If this goes poorly for Invasion, they've lost this game. Jumping for Ghost, they're going to pull back Miracle behind the Ancient, but they aren't focused him down. They're going to get a steal. Abyssal Blade focused down Miracle, but with the Ultimate Pulse on, they can't use that Witch Doctor ultimate. Now the Ravage #1 coming out. Kesekemba's being focused down. He's going to be able to make it back towards the base, but the Tier 4 tower is focused by Miracle. Medusa's not right-clicking it down, but they're going to be able to start focused down to the Ancient. The Ancient's falling. Invasion can do nothing. They get a Mana Void onto a target with almost full mana, and GG is called up by ADTR. First Departure, after one clean pickoff, they're going to be able to take this game.
Just the Razor, bad place to be, plus Razor, he didn't have enough farm overall for this stages of the game, to be honest. Shut down from the get-go almost and couldn't really pick up the pace at all. And Anti-Mage, as strong as a carry as he may be, his biggest asset is that he can get 6-slotted faster than others. And if you can't win within that duration before the others catch up, it's just no go. So guys, this was though only game number 1 in a best of 3 series. Invasion, it's not like they got completely crushed or anything. They definitely have a highest just chance to come back in game number 2. Hopefully they will as well, just so we could have a series at our hands. But I do hope you enjoyed the cast. We definitely enjoyed the game and casting it. So if you like this, be sure to follow us as well on this channel, as well as our HeflaTV 2. Plus the social media, which is HeflaTV everywhere. The links are below the stream. For the casters, it's at Coucher for everything for me. At GrandisV for my co-caster, and any last words?
Nope, I'm excited for game number 2, and hopefully it is as good as game number 1. both of these teams, they're on a pretty even standing, and let's see if they're going to perform.
Yes, so guys, we're gonna head into game number 2. Don't go anywhere, it should be up in just a minute or two.